So in today's video we are going to talk about apps that I think every college student needs. But before doing that, I haven't posted this past week because quite frankly the only thing that has been on my mind is the Black Lives Matter movement, as I hope it has been on your minds and you've taken this past week to have conversations with your families, to educate yourself, to donate, sign petitions, protest, whatever it may be. I really hope that you took this past week to reflect and listen. Most importantly, been very vocal on other platforms, but realize that this is my largest platform. It wouldn't feel right to not say anything. So just know that this is not a trend, that this is a movement, and there is still so much to be done. And to continue to propel this movement, I will have links and resources for you guys to help and to continue this fight. So yeah, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the video. So like I said, I gathered apps that I've used a lot as a college student, and apps that I think every college student should use, or that you should get now, because when you are in college, these are apps that you're probably going to use the most frequent and are going to help you guys the most. So the first app on my list is Venmo. So before I was even in college, I never used Venmo. There was never a need to use Venmo. I actually think it was pretty new during that time when I went into college, but this app I feel like a lot of college students use the most, because a lot of things that are done are in groups or for different events or organizations. Donating is through Venmo a lot of times, or to pay back a friend if they bought your food and you just want to send them money through Venmo. It's the easiest, quickest way, and I feel like every college student should have Venmo downloaded. So that's the first app. The second app is Uber or Lyft. This is another one that I feel like is used a lot by college students, and I never used it when I was in high school, and I don't know if it's because it was newer then. I don't know if like high school students use Uber more frequently now, but if you don't and haven't had to already, Uber or Lyft is definitely apps that you want to have on your phone, because this is like your number one way of transportation if you don't have a car, especially freshmen. You don't have a car, and if your campus is larger, you're going to need some form of transportation to get you from point A to point B. Or if you want to go off campus and you don't have a car, having Uber or Lyft is like so important. I've actually been using Lyft more recently than Uber, only because I listened to a podcast with the CEO of Lyft, and ever since then I was like, I want to support Lyft more, just because I knew the backstory of Lyft and everything. So ever since then, I personally have been using Lyft a lot more, but either one, make sure you guys have that downloaded. The third app I recommend is having RateMyProfessor. RateMyProfessor is an app where you guys can go and look up professors or teachers at your school and get a little idea of how that teacher or professor is. Basically, reviews on them, having comments of other students' experiences in the class, how difficult the course was, if you need textbooks, just all that type of information at the level of difficulty. And this has been my best friend, I swear, all college, being able to use this as a resource when choosing classes. So if you haven't done so already, make sure you guys are using RateMyProfessor. It is seriously so helpful. And I remember having friends who would tell me that they've never used it. They would just pick classes based on the title or whatever, because they would tell me about how hard their classes are. And I'm like, did you not use RateMyProfessor? And they're like, no. And I'm like, what? That literally is what has got me to have like 99% of like great classes, is by having RateMyProfessor. So I would definitely recommend you guys have this app and actually use it when you're choosing your guys' schedules, if you guys have the choice of what professor of a class to take, because I know there's sometimes there are classes that don't have the name of the professor and then you end up just in a class, so that sucks. But if the professor's name is on there when choosing your classes, especially gen eds, make sure you actually utilize it. Fourth app I recommend is Mint. So Mint is an app that I actually got more recently, and it is like a budgeting app, I guess. So this is actually super helpful, especially because in college we don't really got a lot of money. So having a way where you can kind of organize all of your spending and have ways to budget on your food, your shopping, etc. Basically all categories of where you're spending your money, and giving specific budgets you want to have. You can have different money goals that you guys want to have. If you want to save up for a laptop, if you want to save up for a car, if you want to save up for concert tickets, whatever it may be, it is very simple and helpful to do that on Mint. So I definitely recommend Mint as well. Next app is LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is an app that I never heard of until I got to college. Basically, LinkedIn is a great way to connect with different companies, and I like to see it as like an online resume or a digital resume. It's very, very helpful for when you are trying to get a job during college or when you graduate. So it is a great networking source, so I definitely recommend that. And a lot of people are told to have LinkedIn and get it set up when you're in college, so make sure you guys get that now. Start inputting information like with different experience you've had, because it kind of could take a while to get all that information in detail and stuff, especially when you are in school. So doing that now is perfect. And start connecting with people because it will be such a great resource for you. So I definitely recommend getting started on that now. Next is Postmates or Grubhub, DoorDash, whatever food delivery service there is. Before, we had one at my school. It was called Tap and Go. I don't think we have it anymore, but my freshman year, that was the food delivery service that we had at our school. So you could order food that way. But having those apps on your phone are super helpful, especially in college, because when you're in your dorm late at night and want to order food, it is super helpful. And I know like probably every college student has that, and that again is something that I didn't have when I was in high school because there was no need for it. But when I was in college is when ordering food through food delivery apps was a lot more common, so I would definitely recommend that as well. The next app is Google Calendar, and this is an app that I also more recently got. So I always thought the Google Calendar was the app that actually came on your phone where you can look at your whole calendar, input different things, but Google Calendar is actually an app that you have to get separately. It is free, by the way, all these apps are free, but it is separate, and this has made me have an even more organized life because I love being organized. I write a lot of stuff in like a personal planner and have a lot of my assignments on here and stuff, and having a space where is separate from my actual assignments and I could just see it all digitally has been super helpful. You can organize different events you have and use color coordination to kind of separate that. So I will have school in one color, have like appointments in another color, have work appointments when I'm gonna upload, all those types of different events that you may have in separate colors to kind of organize your week and your month. And it just has been really helpful with organizing everything that I need to do. So I would definitely recommend you guys downloading that because you can use it all on your laptop or your iPad, whatever you use. So definitely get Google Calendar. Another app that is very helpful is having Quizlet. Quizlet has saved me so many times when studying for tests. Using flashcards is my favorite way of studying. I've noticed it to be the most effective way for me to study, and every time I've known every flashcard on a Quizlet I've made or found, I've always gotten the best grades on those tests. So it has been proven for me especially that flashcards work for tests. So if you're the same way, having Quizlet on your phone is so helpful because you can make flashcards, or a lot of times for different classes, those sets of flashcards are already made. So you can find those and study those. And you don't even just have to use flashcards, they have different forms of studying as well. When that's called tests, the flashcards, and different methods of studying through that way. So I highly, highly recommend having Quizlet because you could have it on your phone and constantly study those flashcards. So definitely have that. The next couple apps I recommend are Google Docs / Google Drive. So having both these apps are so helpful and useful if you're writing papers and things, and just to have that on your phone because it will save it. So say you have a paper and you just need to edit real quick, you can do that on your phone. You don't have to have your computer. I do everything through Google Drive and Google Docs even still. I know a lot of people do all their papers through Microsoft Word, and I don't. I've always done it through Google Docs because it's the easiest way all of my papers to be saved, and I know that no matter what device I use, I could have it at my disposal, like through my phone or other computers, whatever it may be. So I just recommend having Google Drive or Google Docs on your cell phone for that reason, and writing papers through there. And then the last couple apps I definitely recommend are GroupMe or Facebook. So these are a couple apps that I never really used in high school, but once I got to college, these were apps that you definitely need for sure if you're joining organizations at all. This is the form of communication you will have. I feel like a lot of people go from where Facebook was our number one site that we used when we were younger, and then there was kind of like a drop. We don't use Facebook to another spike in college students like you need Facebook. That's the way you connect with different groups a lot of the times, and just start actively using Facebook will help you a lot, or even GroupMe, because a lot of times people make groups on Facebook for different resources of organization groups, and then if you're not communicating through there, you can use GroupMe, which is a lot better than having like group messages on your phone, especially with a large group of people you may not know. So having those two apps are really essential in college, especially. So make sure you guys have those downloaded before, because I can almost guarantee that you're going to need both of those. And yeah, those are pretty much the 10 apps that I use the most as a college student, and apps that I think every college student should have. Obviously weren't specific like studying apps or anything like that, but just apps that I've noticed that most college students use, and almost all these apps I didn't use previous to when I was in college, and ones that I use very often. So I hope you guys found this helpful, and if you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye guys!